Hi everyone. So today we'll talk about concept. All right. So OOPS nothing but object oriented program system. Clear? So let me write one thing points wise. First point. Object oriented program I'm nothing but OOP stands for object oriented programming. It is a just a technique. Okay, it's not at all technology. It means it doesn't provide any syntax or API. Okay, now OPI stands for the object oriented programming. And it is technique, so it is not a technology. So Java is a technology. Java is technology. Moreover, it is a programming language. So Java, since it is a since Java is a technology, right? It has some syntax and simulations, but object-oriented programming is a not a technology. So it doesn't have it means object-oriented programming doesn't have any syntax and or any API. Clear? It provides suggestions to the designing only. It provides the suggestions to design, comma, and develop the objects in a programming language. In a programming language. So, object oriented program OPP stands for object oriented programming. Just object orient programming. After that, it is a one technique, not a technology. So but Java is a one technology. So since it is a technology, it has some syntax and simulations, but object OPP doesn't have any syntax and any API. It provides a suggestion to design one application and develop the objects in the programming language. Clear? This is nothing but simple introduction about OOP, nothing but object oriented programming. Second point, why we have OOP. So object oriented program is a one methodology. It is introduced it is introduced to represent the real world objects. It is so why we have the why we have the OOP thing, but it is a one methodology, right? It is a one methodology. It is introduced to represent the real world objects. So in a programming world, in a programming world by the achieving security and dynamic building blocks for binding purpose. So the main purpose of the OOP is it is one methodology. It is introduced to represent the real world objects. What is the so we know the objects means. Suppose it might be living entity or non-living entity. All living and non-living are considered as a objects. Considered as objects. Suppose in the real world objects such as if you take person or house, otherwise like bike and etc. What is those? These are all the living entity, non-living entities. All living and non-living things considered as a object. Clear? So created in the OOPS language by using this class. These are all objects we are using to create the class. To class purpose we have to use these objects. After that, so let me give the third point. So generally definition of the object oriented program, nothing but it is already we know it's a methodology that provides a way modularizing program by creating the pre-oriented memory area by both data and methods that can be used as a template for creating the copies of such as modules on a demands. Here definition of the object. Object oriented program is a methodology that provides a way of modularizing a program by creating a pre-oriented memory area for the both data nothing but variables, otherwise properties and methods that can be used as a template for the creating copies of such modules, nothing but objects on demand nothing but requirement. This is the book definition of the OOP, nothing but object oriented programming. So I have one question, like if you accept this one, like I have one question, like why do we have need real world objects in program? This is one question. Why do we have real world objects in a program? Real world objects. What is mean by real world objects? See, consider as house is one real world object, bike is one real world object, person is one real world object. So answer is here because of because of, if you take the real world objects in a programming, suppose let me write real world objects in a program. If you take real world objects a part of a business, is a part of our, it is a one part of our business. So suppose as a develop software for the automating business, we must also create the business related real world objects in the project. We must store the values and implement operations of every object separating from the another object. Suppose, let me write this one. Suppose as we develop software, nothing but one application for automatic automating business, we also create that business related real world objects, related real world objects. Clear? This is the answer why we have the need real world objects in the programming. If suppose if you write any program, do we need real world objects for the programming? Answer is yes. Why? Real world program is a part of a business, right? Suppose what is that? Suppose as a we have to develop one software for automating business purpose. We have to create that business related business related objects in the real world. Suppose example, what can I take example? Real world business, suppose ATM. Otherwise, to automatic bank business, we must create the real world objects. Suppose bank business. Suppose the bank business, we must create the real world objects, like we must create real world objects. What are those? Suppose customer. Suppose I have to take the name of the customer. For the purpose, I have to create one class in the program. It is a real world object, right? It is a living or non-living customer. Otherwise, and one more thing is manager, computer, and what else? Like computer, chair, and etc. So the final thing is, why do we have need real world objects in the program? If you want to create one bank related sector programming, then we have to take the real world objects as a part of business. We have to develop as a automatic business. We have to create that business we have to create that business related real world objects. These are all the real world objects. Customer, we have to give the name. Manager, we have to give the name. And computer and chair and etc. These are all the in the real world objects, right? We have to, based on the real world objects, we have to implement our business. For that purpose, we need real world object for the programming. Based on it only, we can implement that one. After that, simple the definition of the class. What is the definition of the class? Suppose assume class. Definition of a class is, it's a one specification or a blueprint. Blueprint or a template of a object that defines what goes to the make up a particular soft of a object. Suppose this is a class is nothing but a simple blueprint. Clear? So the definition is, class is a blueprint of a creating object. It is defined a common characteristics, nothing but properties and actions, nothing but behaviors or functionality. That all objects of that type we have properties and behaviors. Suppose take example here. Suppose assume class is one blueprint. Clear? It has some properties and behaviors. What are those properties? It has address. It has one address. It has some number of rooms, and it has some color, and it has some date of year constructed. These are all comes under properties of one object. And methods. What are those methods? Generally, it's a non-living entity, but it has some functionalities. What is those? Is it close the window? Close the window is one method. Turn on the lights is one method. Open door is one method. Nothing but action of the one, I would say, class. So one more point, class is a logical construct, otherwise it's a one logical entity. So when we create a class, we have specify the data and code that constitute that class. Collectively, these elements are called members of the class. What does this mean is, suppose let me create one class. Suppose let me create one class. Class name is house. Open braces, close braces, X modifier is public. Now it has some properties. Nothing but, what is those properties? Integer, year, construct year, and one method. Let me take one method. Name is void is door open, something, one method. So if you create one class, then it contains property and one functionality. That is the meaning of this one. We can create one class, we have to specify the data and code. We have to specify, just a second. We have to, in this class, we have to specify one data, nothing but properties, otherwise attributes, and one code. Code is nothing but this one. Nothing but we have to provide functionality. These two, those called members of the class. Members of class, nothing but data and code. And specifically, the data defined by the class are referred to as a member variable or instance variable, otherwise attributes. The code that operates on the data is referred to as a member of method or methods. Okay, in this point at the time of explanation of code, I will explain this one. Clear? After that, let me let me let me tell about one more important point, that is that models, object oriented OOP model. What is mean? This means generally we have to represent the real world objects. We have two methods. We have generally model. We have what? Just a second. Let me real world. To represent the real world objects, we have a design model. What is that? Single class. What is meant by single class? Nothing but multiple instance of a object. Multiple instances of object. This is one model. What is that? Generally single class and multiple instances of a object. What does this mean? Means suppose a multiple objects of a same type having the same properties and same behavior implementation when we develop by using the design. Single class, what this means? If multiple objects of a same type have same properties and same behaviors, implementation then we develop by using this design. So what does this mean? Means I will give one example for regarding this. A multiple objects of a same type. So suppose type is person. Person is one type. Person is one type. So we have the same properties and same behaviors to the type of person, right? So what is those properties and what is those behaviors implemented? Then we have to develop by using this design. So what is that? Suppose if you take a person example, in this common and individual properties we can identify the common and individual properties. What is that? Suppose take an example person only. If you consider person object, every person object have some properties. Suppose if we consider a person, if you consider a person, he has, I mean, yeah, he has some objects, that is common or individual. Suppose some common, if you take if you take three persons, what are the common, what are the common properties we can find in every person? That is eyes and hands, comma, legs and ears. This is the common properties. Okay. Okay. So this is the common properties. So if you compare to, three persons. So after that, individual properties. Suppose if you take three persons, what are the individual properties of every that person? Like name. Name is different, and height is different, and weight is different, right? Suppose single class has the multiple instances of your object. Suppose if you take one object, same data type, suppose person is a one type, have the some properties and some behaviors, right? What are those properties? Suppose we will talk about properties first. We'll talk about properties, after that we will go to the behaviors. Suppose if you take three persons, common properties, nothing but common properties. Every person has eyes, hands, legs, ears. This is the common to all persons. But individual properties, suppose name, all don't have the same name, all don't have the same height and weight as well. This is the some individual properties and common properties are for a person. So some same behavior. What are those same behavior? He can walk, he can talk, he can write. So this is the same behaviors, right? At that time we have to go for model single class. Clear? Common properties, common properties and behaviors. Then we have to go for single class. Multiple instance we can create for a object. That is the one model of it is the one of the model in the object oriented programming. After that, if you want to give an example, suppose, then you can get some clarity. Suppose let me take class as a person, then we have to common. What is the common things? Hands to comma final static. After that, legs. balls. Clear? So let me write individual properties also. String name and double height. Okay. And class contains constructor also. It doesn't have any return type. Start with the class name. And it has some parameters. It has some balls. After that, see now. So common and individual properties. So eyes, ears, hands, legs. These four properties common for all person, right? And these three are the individual per person. So if you want, if to create one class with this design, we must develop the class as a below lines. What is those? A class with the object name as a class a class with the object name. It should be a name, nothing but identifier, right? It should be a name. It should be, we have to give the identifier. Person is the one identifier. So this is the first point. What is that? A class with the object. I gave the person. After that, static variables to store the common values of a instance of the object. What is the common values in the person? Eyes, ears, hands. For that purpose, we have to give the static. We gave here, right? This is the second point. For static variable to store the common values for all instances of the object. Example, ears, legs, hands. Under non-static variables, we have to store the instance specific values of each instance. For that purpose, I gave these are all the non-static variables. This is also done. After that, a parameterized constructor to initialize the non-static variables with the instance specific values. What does that mean? Suppose this is the constructor. Constructor always with the same name. At the time of object-oriented program, I will explain this one. What is meant by constructor, parameterized constructor and a default constructor. So, it has no return type. It has access modifier. So, this is the constructor. And with the parameterized constructor. After that, we have to create the instance for the class. So these are all the 4 lines to create a basic class. To create a class with this design. These are all the lines for creating one class. Why? Because of we are discussing regarding class only. That's why this is the minimum lines for creating one class. This is the 3rd point and this is the 4th point. If you don't write the constructor also, default constructor will work at the time of object creation. Okay. So these are all the 4 points to create a class. After that, okay, this is a example. We have to pause the parameters. Okay. So behavior. What is meant by behavior means in object-oriented program, behavior refers to action an object can perform. Okay, suppose example tough. What it does? It will eat, run, play, jump. This is the behavior of tough. And function. A block of code that performs a task. See now, it is a one block. It is a block of code. It will perform some action, addition operation. It is not that is called function. After that, method. Java, when a function inside the class, this is a function. If it is inside a class, that we will call as a simply method. Clear? After that, we will go with the next slide as types of classes in Java. We have generally five types of classes. One is the concrete class. Concrete class nothing but a regular class with the full implementation. Right? Suppose if you take any one, suppose hello world. Let me remove this code. Simple. System dot okay method. It doesn't have method. That's why it's showing. Let me write one method. Void something get sysout. Let me write hello in just hello. See now. So concrete method means a regular class with a full implementation. Full implementation nothing but it has full implementation. This is called implementation actually. In the real time, they will write in this method full implementation. That is called concrete body. So far we discussed about all concrete bodies only. So far we discussed all our concrete body only. So we know we have our knowledge about concrete class. Abstract class nothing but at the time of I will explain at the course of period. I will explain what is the abstract class and what is the abstract methods, all these things. A class that cannot initiated may contain abstract methods. Okay, and we have to use the abstract keyword for this class. And final class. Okay, final class nothing but simply just let me create one class. Let me create one class and I have to give one. Okay, just let me create one new class. Let me create one class name as a suppose bank SB something SB something. Okay, static void main. See now, this is the package name com.classes demo. In that I created one class bank SB. Here what is meant by final class? Simply we have the 54 keywords. Among that final is one keyword. Then it became final class. This is the final class of the construct structure. Just system.out.println. Let me write simple basic code for this one. Bank let me write anything like interest. Something interest rate is 6%. Simple line. Today interest rate is 6%. Okay. After that, let me write this one in the method. Create method rate method braces body and let me write here this thing. So this is one method in the final class. Now I have to create one object. Generally, how to create object with the new keyword. New keyword. What is my final class name? Bank SP. Here, let me take the object reference as something bank. Save this one and bank dot invoking the non-static method. This thing you know. Save this one. See now, just to run this one, it will execute fine. Today interest rate is 6%. Now this is okay. So why I am explaining this final class? Some important points regarding this we have. Concrete, abstract, final. Okay. In a Java, final class is a class that cannot extend it. Okay. This is the important point. That's why I wrote that code. If you, in the course of period, when I'm explaining inheritance concept, we can acquire one members of the class. So what is the members of the class? Nothing but properties and behaviors. There is those. Okay. I explained here. See, members of the class. You know, when you create the class, we have to specify the data and code. These are called members of the class. So if you go to the final class, in a Java final class, it a class that cannot extend it in the inheritance concept, then we can't access that members of the class. When a class is declared as a final, no other class can subclass it. At the time of inheritance, it will understand. So this is the simple example. Final class vehicle, one method. So if you want to try to extend parent class, parent class, then it will show the compile time error. We can't, we can't create for the subclass. We can't create subclass for the final class. So generally, what is the real time final class? Example nothing but system. Open declaration. See now, system. System is a one class available in java.lang package. It is a final class. We can't create object, we can't inherit it. We can't inherit it. Inheritance concept not applicable. Clear? If we declare the final keyword before the class. After that, next type is we have fine abstract class. I will explain course of period. Static nested and non-static nested class. So I will explain this one. Inner classes in a Java. What is meant by inner classes in a Java? Nothing but okay. What is that? Inner classes in a Java nothing but a class that defined inside the other class. Simple words. See now, here I gave one syntax. In this syntax, I created one class name as outer class. Open braces, close braces. Inside, I declared one more class. Class name, inner classes. This is the simple nothing but classes inside the class. Same as a nested if block. Clear? Now, what is the uses of the inner classes? Logical grouping, encapsulation, access to outer class members, better code reusability, and anonymous inner classes of the short logic. These are all the advantages of the inner classes. What is meant by logic grouping? Nothing but when one class is a only useful inside the another class. For example, B car class may have an engine inner class. That the purpose they will grouping the logic and they will use they will go for inner classes and encapsulation. So we can add the helper classes inside the main method and keeps your code clean and more secure. For the purpose encapsulation. So encapsulation also one of the pillar in object oriented program. After that, access to outer class member. Inner class, especially non-static, can access even private field and methods of the outer classes directly. Makes easier and work to outer class data. Better code reusability. Organize related code in one place instead of making many external classes. This is the one of the use regarding inner classes and anonymous inner classes for short logic. Quickly implement interface or abstract class without creating a separate class. Very useful in event handling, especially GUI and Android apps. These are all the uses of the inner classes. Suppose this is also divided into static nested and non-static nested class. Static nested class inside the another class to group class that are only used one place and can be accessed without the creating outer class object. So inner class can access the members variables of the outer class. So this is the syntax we have to. This is the syntax for creating the static nested class. So okay, let me write one code for static nested class. Let me create one class. Static demo inner class. We create public static void main and hit finish. So ID will generate the class. Now, so what is mean by nested class? Let me remove this main method first. This is one static demo inner class. This is assume this is a outer class. Nested class nothing but declare class inside the class. Let me write inner. See now, in one class I declared one more class. I will write here static. Here let me write this is out one statement. Okay, it's a only class. It should be in the method. Let me write one method. Let me write get static inner class parentheses, and it should be return type is void, and let me write public is the access modifier. Let me write one sysau statement. In that let me write hello some SMS from the static inner class. Simple recommendations. So I created one class, inside one more class, inside one method. So this is the method brace, this is the open brace. Let me write here main method, in the main method let me create the object. So we know how to create the object for the class. The new keyword class name and one reference variable, suppose hi. After that class name. This is the syntax for the creating object. Now but we have the inner classes. For that we have to one object, one syntax is there. What is that? With the new keyword only, outer class dot inner class parenthesis and equal to, again, one reference variable. Let me take demo is the reference variable, and outer class dot inner class. This is the actual syntax. So what is my outer class name here? Static demo inner class is my outer class name. Dot inner class name, just inner. Oh, class is demo. And one reference variable. Let me write demo only equal to new keyword outer class, again outer class dot inner class followed by parenthesis. Let me remove this explanation. This is how we have to create the object for the static inner class. Let me write comments. Static inner class object creation. Okay, static inner class object creation syntax. Now, so what is the reference variable here? Demo dot, what is I want what method I want to invoke. This is a non-static method available in the inner class. I want to access this one. For that purpose, or object reference dot get static inner class. Just save this one. Let me run this code. Hello SMS from the static inner class. Clear? This is how we have to write the static inner classes syntax in class inside the class. One method for demo, main method. This is how we have to create the object for the static inner classes. Outer class dot inner class, reference variable equal to new keyword outer class dot inner class, and with the reference variable we have to invoke the inner class member. Then it will come on the console. Hello SMS. Okay, from, let me update, let me run again. Hello, let me remove hello, run this one. SMS from the static inner class. Clear? Now one more thing is there, that is non-static non-static inner class. Same. What is the difference here? We have to remove the static, then we have to create object, and we have to invoke the method, and we have to print on the console. This is I want to demonstrate. For that purpose, let me create again class, new class, what I would say, non, okay, let me write outer class. Oh, already it's there, so let me write one more S. Outer class, let me write outer class demo. Oh, it's not there. Okay, outer class demo. me remove something console. Okay, let me remove this main method also after some course of period. Okay, see now I created one class, outer class demo. This is my identifier. Inside I want to write non-static class. Other class inner non-static and open braces, close braces. Now it is a non-static class. Let me write one method, something display method braces open closes. After that system dot out dot println. Let me write one message as non non-static inner class. Simple. After that, this is the inner class. Here let me write main method. In this let me write I want to invoke this method, non-static method, inside the non-static inner class. For that purpose we have two steps. First step, is we have to create object for the first step. We have to create object for the outer class. What is the outer class? Outer class demo is my name. New keyword. Let me write here outer class, and also this is outer class demo is the outer class name. Type here. Let me give name as simply object reference as a O. After this, second step is it's very little thing. Outer class dot inner class and object reference equal to our outer class object. Outer class reference outer class object reference, nothing but 0. Okay, dot new keyword, after that inner class. This is the second step. So what is the outer class and dot inner class? Outer class is this one. This is the inner class. Outer class demo. Just copy this one. Dot inner class is non-static, inner non-static. So this is done. Outer class, this one. Inner class, this one. Object reference. Let me write object reference. In, just in, equal to, so object reference I took in. Outer class object reference. Outer class, what is object reference? O. Okay, O dot new outer object reference, that is I take O, new keyword, inner class. What is the inner class? Non-static. Parenthesis. So this is how we have to create the non-static inner class object. After this, I want to invoke this non-static method in the non-static inner class. For the purpose, I created one reference variable with this in dot. What is my this one? Display. See now, display. Data type is void. Okay, this one. Data type is void. Method name and some statement. Dot display is a method. Data type is void from inner non-static class. Let me save this one. Annotations. Save this one. Let me run as Java application. On the console print non-static inner class. Clear? This is how we have to print the method, non-static method in the non-static inner class. Clear? So definition of instance. Okay. Object. Okay. Object will talk about tomorrow. So that's it about today. So today we discussed about just introduction of OPS concept. After that, important things like in the object oriented program we discussed about class. After that, definition of the class and what is meant by properties and behaviors and some model of the class. After that, some definitions, functions, method. After that we created a concrete class. So we know the what it is by concrete class, fully implemented one. After that, abstract class I will explain at the time of interfaces and abstract classes. After that, final class. What is the final class? Here I wrote one example. Final class. This is the one final class, and creating object for the final class and invoke the method, rate method, and it will print on the console. Today interest rate is 6%. After that, we'll discuss about static, nested, and inner and non-static class. So this one, static nested class. See now, nested class nothing but class inside one more class. Class inside one more class, and moreover static nested class. So how to create object? Static inner class object creations like outer class dot inner class reference variable is equal to new keyword outer class dot inner class. Then we have to invoke that method with the reference variable. Then it will print on the console SMS from the static inner class. After that, non-static inner class. This is one class. Outer class demo is the identifier. Outer class. Fifth line, inner class, and it's a non-static. One method name is display. After that, in the main method, we have to create first two steps. One is the object for the outer class. Outer class name is outer class demo, and one reference variable. After that, we have to create one more thing, that is outer class dot inner class reference variable equal to outer class reference variable 0 new keyword and outer class. Then we have to invoke with the object, we have to invoke this method. Then it will come on the console non-static inner class. Clear? That's it about today class. topic as a classes in Java. Bye bye.